Something about now Senator Kaine. When Governor Warner was in office, I had actually known him before he was governor. I was in the Indian CEO High Tech Council. I was president of our local DC chapter, and I'd known him in the tech community. And he put me on a couple of boards and commissions, and he recommended me to Governor Kaine to serve in the cabinet. I had met Governor Kaine a few times, but I didn't say that I had like best friends with Governor Kaine. So we met, had a wonderful time, and the whirlwind of excitement. Process happens. I'm appointed. All is well. The first thing you do when you're appointed is you sit down with the governor and you talk about your team. And I was sweating bullets about this conversation because we were keeping all of the Warner team. There was only one spot left. And I knew exactly who I wanted, the best person for the job, but I was really anxious about suggesting him. So I walk into this room. I'm not that close personally with Governor Kaine, and I know if I say it, he might look at me in a different way, and I was feeling awkward. First of all, he was making fun of me. He goes, only this appointment to make you Secretary of Technology makes international news because all the Indian papers were like excited about it. So he's like, why are we getting calls from international press for an announcement? But I said, Governor Kaine, I said, I know exactly what we need to move the innovation agenda forward. And there's another young man from Arlington who is the Chief Technology Officer for the County of Arlington, and he got his job on 9/11 when all the tragedy hit. And he has more capacity for this. But I just want to, before I tell you him, I want you to know that demographically it might be a doubling down. And if that's a challenge for you, I just want you to know. And his name is Vivek Kundra, another AAPI. And so I literally was anxious. And we all know Governor Kaine now, but this is a little bit why I wanted to share the story. He said, and he laughs, and he said, Aneesh, the reason why I'm so excited about your appointment is you're opening up the possibility that the AAPI community can participate. I think you're going to open up opportunities for resumes to come in I'd never even heard of. So of course bring him in. We'd love to have him. So we went from having the first AAPI in the cabinet to 3 in the Kaine, within the first few weeks of the Kaine administration. I share that story with you because for those of us who've been involved in Asian American political organizing, I was at the Kennedy School, and I know we just hung out. I met someone for the first time tonight, Clarence. Editor of the Asian American Policy Review. I wrote a piece in the Asian American Policy Review. I tried to conduct the first official survey of the Indian American community. What were the political attitudes? There were a lot of, the family was, we're all Democrats, no, we're Republicans. No one had evidence, right? We just sort of were thinking. We wanted to build evidence. So in 1997, we did this. What's exciting to me is 1 + 1 is equaling 3. And I know, Grace, you probably said I was good at math or I'm smart, and maybe you might say that I'm not anymore. By opening up opportunity for the Asian community to participate, it's not just getting someone like Lynn involved, or we honoring Rose on Sunday, but it creates this additional conversation that says, if we have ideas, we can actually advance them and we can try something new. And there's the barrier to participate is falling, and it's falling fast. Well, I want to just share a little bit of my personal story and then maybe a bit about what I want to do. That's all background, but a little bit what I want to do for Virginia. Because like many of you, I'm the son of immigrants. My mom and dad came here. My dad came first, to be honest, and then he went back home, married mom, brought her back here. But President Johnson in '65 was on a roll, having done all that he did on voting rights and so forth. He actually also ushered in immigration reform, which we're having the discussion right now. He allowed South Asians to be more, I'm sure there's a lot of more legal minutiae, the lawyers will tell me, but he basically created the channel that allowed us to come in. And Dad came in '66 and eventually got 3 patents, and he started designing air conditioning systems. But Mom and Dad believed, and Grace mentioned this, that what lifted them into the middle class was about an education focus for them. That's how they left India. But they said, my sister and I, we could build on their foundation if we studied hard. So they actually, held back spending on their own short-term benefits so that they could buy me that computer, take me to that chess club, make sure I go to the extra activities around. And that gave me confidence and a leg up. and eventually led to a career at the intersection of technology and healthcare. I had the honor and privilege of working at a firm and leading 2 divisions, finding ways to make our healthcare system work better, and because of the success of the firm, was blessed with the opportunity to get into public service early. It's now $500 million in revenue, 2,000 employees, and it really is, I think, an exciting opportunity to say, if it's possible for us to apply these new technologies in the private life, Howard's got one on his watch. He's wearing a smartphone, literally a smart watch phone. We now imagine what we could do if we could solve healthcare and energy and education the same way. Well, from my vantage point, all of this is possible, but it cannot operate in a vacuum. I looked back in the Kane years, we celebrated the 400th anniversary of American democracy. Jamestown is where our democracy was set. And the Queen visited, and the Queen said, Commonwealth really is a voluntary association of friends and neighbors to advance the common good. And Virginia was so good. We were a startup, the Virginia Company. We had good democratic values. And as Governor Kane often remarks, over the last 50 years, no state has done more to move from bottom of the pack to top of the pack in terms of income per capita. And under the Kane-Warner years, best managed state, best state for business, best place to raise a family. But I knew something when I was in the Kane years that is only playing out to be true now. The best don't always stay the best because they say it. It's because they stay focused. I was reminded of this because Kodak is about to go bankrupt. You know, here we are. Kodak invented digital photography, failed to capitalize on it, and here Instagram is worth $1 billion, and they're, frittered down to nothing. We've got to stay focused. The sign of an organization that has lost focus is that they take their eyes off the ball. What's Virginia been about the last 3 years? Making it harder for women to access their health care rights, making it harder for minorities to vote, and making it harder for immigrants to feel like they're equal parts of our society, let alone our gay and lesbian friends and neighbors. That's the hallmark of a divisive, fixed pie, and I can only grab mine and you can't have any mentality. And that's the mark of a failing and a declining organization. But Virginia is better than this, because ideology in Richmond does not reflect the values and the spirit of Virginia. I have been traveling this state, and I did in the Kane years. I saw every corner, and I know there's enthusiasm and excitement to make a difference. I'm running to bring that spark back, to make sure that Virginia can be better and faster, but that we can also be fairer for that opportunity that we all saw as immigrants to give us a chance to live the American dream. To me, I'd like to be measured by results. And if I'm entrusted with the opportunity to serve, here's what I will do over the next, not just 4 years, but my hope is over the next 7. Because I think 2020 is a mile marker. 2020, what does Virginia look like? First, we have retooled our educational system from early childhood all the way through post-secondary so that employers know that on day one, if they have a job opening, Virginia's workforce is ready to come to work. We still have thousands, tens of thousands of open, unfilled jobs in Virginia with higher than expected unemployment because there's a mismatch. Second, we know from research that the economy grows because companies less than 5 years old plant their flag, and if enough of them start their new businesses here, they will thrive and expand the economic pie. This is the argument why I hate immigration reform, thinking fixed pie politics. When they realize that immigrant founders, of whom 40% of Silicon Valley are, expand economic pie. They create growth and wealth and jobs. So this expansive view means that Virginia, which is now currently ranked not even in the top 20 states for new businesses, Virginia should be, if not number 1, at least within the top 5 of states that welcome, nurture, and support new businesses. So companies that haven't even been formed yet, that are in Salil's head, will start over the next couple of years and thrive. That's tens of thousands of new jobs. But third, because Grace mentioned I have kids, they're both girls. So I'm a little personal to the next piece. We've come a long way, generally speaking, in bringing about a diverse and celebrated electorate. We're coming together, we're organizing, we're voting at the ballot box, but we still lack outcomes. Equal pay for equal work. I struggled to mention this. My wife, we have 2 professional degrees. She's an MBA. She's a brilliant woman, very talented. She found out at the water cooler that she was paid less 17% than a neighbor colleague with the exact same credentials who started on the exact same day, male. Now, my wife wouldn't take that sitting down. She negotiated a pay adjustment to get back to correction, so the gap closed mighty quick. But it didn't have to happen for 6 months. So I look at the broader data, and this third point about the year 2020, 50% of college graduates are women. Women attract less than 5% of the venture capital and are CEOs of less than 3% of the businesses. And the same statistics apply to women and minorities, and I would argue immigrants, although we've broken that barrier with some of the networking groups that have been organized. 2020, Virginia's economy will be reflecting the diversity that we see. We will be more successful in allowing women, minorities, and immigrants to feel like they can help lead the economy and grow the economic pie. Because if we don't have those outcomes, we're not going to achieve the success that we're seeing. That's what I hope for Virginia. But I want to end with this final observation about how to get there. The work I had done for both Governor Kaine and President Obama is technically in the area of technology. But I took that as an opportunity to think about the word change and the idea of new program, new idea formation, new program development. Because innovation is what's really the center of what I had done over the last 6 years. And no story is more important than saying America over the next decade isn't a nation in decline. We are a nation ready to see that next chapter of growth and success. If we're to be successful in doing so, it's going to happen because Virginia will have once again stepped up and led the way. But not because we're going to fight the old battles and win. It's because we're going to invent a new and better way to get there. Final point about what that means. I'm a disciple of a professor named C.K. Prahalad. He wrote a book called The Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. And in his book, he noted that in today's global economy, the poorest billion are not just a source of charity, but they're an opportunity for innovation. And that what we must do is understand how to serve better. And if we do that right, we can scale opportunities around the world. GE, of all places, went to China, and they said, we need to address issues of heart attacks. And GE said, well, the equipment we have to check your heart, this is, half a million dollars a pop. In rural China, we can't, the math doesn't work. So what they decided to do is create a MacGyver-style Chinese team. And they said, find a way to measure the heart performance, but for less than $5,000. And the MacGyver team in China, mostly by immigrant Chinese who came to the U.S. and went back, said, we can fix this problem. And they did. They invented a brand new medical device at low cost that will measure our heart conditions. If we think about the educational challenges, why do 25% of our kids fail the third grade reading exam? Well, we're going to look to see how we teach and educate and learning in Africa, in Asia, and we're going to say what ideas are there that we can re-import to the U.S. and scale. Part of what will give us our mojo back, because we have the uniqueness of being many of us are in the AAPI community, we should tap into our extended networks and say, what are the most innovative ideas? Where's the chance to create new products and services such that if we do, we can reimagine our own world? For those of us who live in Fairfax, half our kids go to Kumon. Mine haven't signed up yet. But today, the Kumon school is completely independent of the Fairfax County schools. The data doesn't transfer. But imagine a world where we've got better information about kids, and we know with predictive capacity which ones are likely to fail that third grade reading exam or to struggle in math. Could we intervene earlier before it's too late? All of this is possible. And if you entrust me with your vote on June 11th in the Democratic primary for Lieutenant Governor, I pledge to you we will work every single day to then win the November election, but then to make this a reality. We will measure results in weeks and months, not years, and we will celebrate our diversity and reflect that in our economy. Thank you so much for listening. I have one more assignment. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If any of you have a cell phone, and you're interested in being reminded to vote on June 11th because nobody knows the election's on June 11th, if you whip out your text message system, just bear with me, if you're interested, if you're a Virginia voter, if you could, when you're ready, whip out your text message system. You're going to send a text message to the following number, 67076. 67076. And all you do is type the word vote and your zip code. And we will remind you, we're not going to spam you, we're going to remind you on or near election day. 67076, the word vote and your zip code. Just send me the text. I got your back. Any questions, thoughts, or concerns, Lynn, or then we can relax? Cheers. Thank you, everybody.